What's up, everybody? Welcome to the first ever episode of the CountryBoyz. I'm here joined with my fellow CountryBoyz. There's Matt right over here, the co-host.
What's up?
Then we got Justin, our sound producer.
Howdy.
And we got Jason, our other producer.
Hello. Just the other guy.
If you haven't known by now, we're actually not CountryBoyz. We're some city slickers. We're coming out of Austin Public Studios, or Austin Public. Yeah, I guess Matt's a little country, just a little bit.
Florida in the house.
Yeah, our resident Florida man. Each episode, we're going through a different country, starting with the smallest, going to the biggest. So we're saving the big dogs for last. So USA, that'll be our final episode when we get to episode 197. But for right now, we're starting small, and we're going with the country of Nauru. How do you guys feel about Nauru?
I don't know a whole lot about it.
I don't know.
I have a feeling you're going to tell me a lot about it.
Yeah,
I'm excited about Nauru.
Before we jump into that, how are we gauging bigness? Are we talking about per like capita?
So by population, size, tourism, there's not really any method to it, but just kind of by least known, we'll say.
This is just your ranking.
This is my personal ranking that I determined.
Right.
It's not by worst or the best.
Nobody's fact checking you,
Yeah, I could just be making it all up.
The smallest.
Basically, so each episode too, we'll go to a different continent, and then we'll kind of give a rundown about the country, and then we'll come to our own conclusion if we deem it worthy or not.
It's a lot of countries, bro.
Yeah, there's 197, and
Are you keeping me here that long?
and we're going through every single one. So by the time we're like 70, we'll get to the final episode.
That's a commitment, Jeff. You didn't tell me about this.
Yeah, this is a lifelong pack that you sign up for. So that's basically the show. So if you're here for country music, you're probably at the wrong place. But hey, stick around. You might find something out you didn't know. But just to get into the rundown about some of the information about it. So the capital is Yaren. It kind of sounds like a name of like a shitty kid nowadays.
Yaren.
Like I could see that like at a daycare.
Somebody would make that up.
Like, here's my son
Not
Yaren.
Karen, but
Yeah.
Yaren.
Karen's son is
That's
Yaren.
individual. He's unique.
He is.
Yeah.
She? He?
Yaren has heart blessings.
They.
Yeah, I could see. It's kind of like Alden, like that kind of name.
Oh boy.
But yeah, so actually this capital, there's really not even a capital city. It's kind of just like the biggest neighborhood in the place.
So how big did you say it was again?
So to give context, it's 8 square miles. So it's about
That's like the size of San Francisco.
not even. I think it's even smaller.
No,
It's like
that's like Disney World, Florida. It's 7 square miles. It's the size of San Francisco. That's like
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Just looking at it, like when I saw it on a map, this place looks like I think you can drive around in under an hour. There's one traffic light, which is crazy. So it's basically, I guess, if you go up to down, it's probably like 2.5 miles.
Man, that's small.
So yeah, you could jog around the country, in a day or a couple hours.
How far away is this from? It's Australia, right? It's like north.
Yeah, so it's in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. So the population, it's about 11,000 people. They speak English, but they have their own language of Nauruan, and it's actually the least visited country in the world. So there's, I think, 2 flights a week that actually go in there, and basically everybody who goes there, it's for work. So they don't have any tourism. It's nicknamed the country that ate itself. So I think back in the 80s, this place was kind of like a, banking haven where rich people could dump their money. So they had actually the highest GDP at some point back in the 80s. So they were doing all right.
Right.
And then
Somebody screwed the pooch.
yeah, I think they just I read something where it was mismanaged their money, and somebody just fucked the whole thing up, and now they basically went from like a first world country to a third world country within the last 30 years.
Yeah, part of it. Apparently, one of the advisors or financial advisors was in a boy band in the UK, and he produced or co-wrote this musical, like this West End musical, and like the country, like in order, like he convinced the country to finance it, essentially.
Wait,
It was a musical on Leonardo da Vinci or something like that. I'm dead serious.
How is that not making money?
I don't know.
That's a solid investment. Man.
Yeah.
wait. So
His name
one
is
of the heads of the
Minx.
state was in a boy band who
Duke Minx.
self-financed.
He
What's his
co-wrote
name?
and Duke Minx.
Duke Minx.
Yes.
With a name like that.
Yes.
I do want to shout out that maybe if you are a cool Yaren, let us know and we'll say we're sorry. But
Yeah.
we're gonna go that you're probably
That's
not.
that's a good point. And if you know anything about this place, and maybe we're completely wrong, because all of our information is really just from Googling something, and then the first article that comes up. So
Yeah,
that's our source of truth. So if anybody actually knows something, please let us know, because we don't know what the hell we're talking about, other than maybe 3 Google articles and Wikipedia.
Whatever Wikipedia
And
tells me.
abc.net, whatever that is. This, I believe.
abc.net.
abc.net. It sounds legit.
It's not
It sounds
.com.
le- I mean, it's got the .au afterwards, so it must be coming from Australia. I mean, like that's how that works.
that
right?
checks
That's
out,
how the
yeah.
internet
Yeah.
works. Okay.
Mhm.
His boy band was the one that took the Rolling Stones off of #1 in 1965. It was,
What was
a
the
song
name?
called
What's the name of the-
Concrete and Clay. Unit 4+2. What's up? That sounds very much like a British boy band.
Did they have boy bands back in the
That's gangsta.
I
70s?
don't know. They
Mhm.
called it a boy band.
I think it was just a band back then.
Made of boys.
Well, so that's why it's the country that ate itself, because they put all their money into this Leonardo da Vinci musical that nobody watched. I mean, with a country that small too, they're like, where did they show the musical?
I don't
Like,
know.
was it there?
I don't know. I didn't get that far into the article.
You're supposed to know that. Like, we're
Just
not
the
we're not talking
headlines
about a
here.
Broadway
Just
musical.
headlines. I don't
Yeah.
need to know more
Yeah.
than the main part.
As we said, it's in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Really, nothing's around, so it's pretty remote. So everything that comes in through this country is by plane, and like the shipments for like groceries is every 6 weeks
For the whole island?
for the whole island. So they can't actually have like freighters drop off food.
How many people did you say live here? How many people live here?
It was
now?
about 11,000.
That's a lot of food
Yeah.
to ship.
So
Right.
everything, and they don't really have any natural, there's no land to farm or anything. So basically everything that they eat is canned or
What counts
know,
as spam? Lots of
that spam, lots of spam.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, so they are the most obese country. And I think that's because of that.
Because it's all
You
processed.
can't eat junk mail. It's not healthy.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's crazy though. Just, I mean, what kind of place is this? Where jagged coral reef and you can't, like, a ship can't go there? Like, that sounds like a fucking evil billionaire's island. Like,
well, I mean, like, so, like, they can't even have like fast food there, like Wendy's, fresh, never frozen. Like, you just can't get that there because you'd have to freeze the food to ship it over by the air, right?
yeah, I don't think they have like fast food restaurants.
Damn, that sounds miserable.
Yeah, it's
I'm
pretty.
sure they have deep fryers still though.
That's true. Fair enough. Okay.
Fried food.
You deep fry.
Yeah,
Deep
so
fry some spam,
Probably the best way to eat it. Really.
right?
deep fried spam.
I don't
I mean,
know. I don't
it's
know if I've ever
disgusting,
had
so
spam.
Deep frying it can only raise it up.
Never had it.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to try it sometime. But so it's 30 miles from the equator, so it's hot as
It's
shit.
hot.
Um,
That's what I was wondering. I was like, what's the climate like? Because I like islands, man. Like,
yeah. No, it looks nice, and so everything about this place, it looks nice on the outside, and then I think the reality of it is it's a
crap.
jag. I don't know if it's crap, but
It's bird crap. Remember
yeah.
we went over this.
it's
Literally shitty.
seagull.
phosphate. We'll just phosphate.
Yeah, I never realized that phosphate was just old bird.
Realize. Again, I'm making this. Well, I read.
No,
an
I
article that
did-
said that.
No,
Is
so
that
so
true?
that is true, and it's their it's almost all depleted. So that's I think also too when they had their kind of renaissance back when they were
Oh,
the
right.
highest GDP. I think it was because of all this phosphate, and then the big corporate dogs came in there and stole it all.
Raiders.
So-
Raiders.
Apparently, it's almost all depleted, or it's not what it used to be. Which I really don't even know what phosphate is, if I'm being
no,
honest. But
Is it used
what
in
do you
cell
do with?
phones or something? I don't know what you phosphate. I don't know.
You put bird shit in your cell phone?
Yeah, right. Not bird shit, but phosphate.
It sounds like something that'd be in a cell phone, but yeah, I don't exactly
those-
know.
I think you use it for like growing.
Or cooking
soil.
meth.
Phosphate is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's-
Potassium, phosphate and
Oh,
calcium, like in the soil.
mineral.
That sounds believable. I'll go with that. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take that.
That was like the big money maker for the country. And so now that there's no phosphate, the musical didn't work out, and you know,
Really screwed
all the
up.
other seemingly bad decisions, it's kind of run down. Like just looking at pictures, there's looked like a lot of kind of decrepit buildings, just run down, you know, old phosphate mines. So just going into the history of this place. So obviously there's been native people there for a long time. You know, the Nauruans, but at least as far as with colonization, so I think it was kind of you know, it was an English colony, and then I guess the Germans were there for a little bit. I think they got their mitts into the phosphate supply. I think that was around the 1800s, and then 1878 to 1888 there was a civil war with the north side of the island fighting the south side of the island. Which, when you think about, like, and,
Close proximity.
and so that's a 10-year war.
I don't like you.
It's basically like I don't
How
know,
long?
like a gang fight. It was 10 years.
10 years. They couldn't settle this?
No.
It's 8 Mile Island.
And when I was looking into that,
Fighting
there
with
was
phosphate.
throwing rocks
yeah,
across the neighborhood.
throwing jagged coral reef. But the yeah, it showed a picture of this warrior. I guess he was, I don't know which side of the island he fought on, but he had has a
Side.
giant blowfish helmet,
Oh.
and yeah, it looked like a guy you don't want to mess with. Like, this guy would F you up. With Australia, they have a pretty close relationship, but recently, or I guess more modern times, since the big civil war, the decade-long civil war there, it's been kind of a dumping ground for Australian refugees. So the dumping ground for English criminals is now dumping their refugees in this place. You know, that's really like one of the only industries, is this kind of refugee camp.
How's that an industry?
Yeah.
I think Australia pays them.
Okay.
You know, I think Australia feels bad probably for taking all their phosphate, and then you know, it's like, okay, look, we'll pay you some money, but you got to,
you take these people.
as long as you take these
people we don't want,
refugees that we
Where are
don't
these
want.
refugees coming from?
I don't know. That's a good question. Probably,
There were some that were from Afghan. I saw that, but there's more than that.
I'm sure it's all over, but I guess it's just kind of like a stopping point.
Kind of like
Sounds like human trafficking.
right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think that they leave there. Like, that's what I heard was the problem when I looked it up or whatever, was that they don't actually resettle them.
Oh,
when
so they
take
just,
the refugees there, they just kind of stay there. So I don't know how much or how many refugees are going there.
dude,
It
imagine.
seemed like a problem on an island that's 8 by 8 miles.
Yeah. Imagine how much that would suck too if you're already immigrating to a place to, you know, escape wherever you were before. You get to Australia and then they go, "Oh no, actually we're going to send you to this
Bird shit
this
island.
this island, and oh, if you want to try to swim away, good luck, because there's jagged coral reef surrounding it."
It's a natural prison.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like it's not cheap to leave there either. You know, like
Yeah,
it's not cheap flights out of this country.
Right.
I think that there might be a flight from Fiji and a flight from Australia. I know there was one from Fiji, but either way, that would suck if you were one of those refugees. You're like, or actually, it's probably, you're like, oh, I'm going to this tropical island. Like, this won't be too bad. And then you get there and
That's how they sell it to them.
yeah.
Show them a brochure. Beautiful.
I'm a
Nauru.
travel agent. There was a fight in World War II, so the Japanese and the Australians fought there
On the island.
on the island, and apparently there's a lot of untouched weapons and
Mines and stuff.
tanks. No, I don't think there's
No.
I don't think there's mines, but just a lot of World War II, like Japanese or Australian World War II turrets, tanks, whatever.
Is it usable?
I don't think so.
Did they use it? And there's wait, no.
I think that's why they're
Civil
still
War.
just there. No, this was World War II, so
This is much later.
this is a good
60 or
60
70,
years
yeah,
after the big Civil War. But yeah, I guess they were, I don't know what the Japanese and Australians were fighting over, but I'd assume it's phosphate. And
How'd
then
they get it all there. If they can't take in. There's no port. How did they get like tanks and stuff on it? Did they airdrop it in? Had to have, right?
I guess.
Or
Or
they
they
report it's due back next week, man.
I don't know if they could airlift a tank back then.
You ever seen
Yeah.
Operation Dumbo Drop? I don't know. or who knows? Maybe they just lost a bunch of ships to the jagged coral reef, and
Yeah.
They had bombers that they dropped in stuff back then, right?
Yeah. I thought it was mostly people. I don't know. I could be wrong.
That's true too.
Get your World War II facts.
I haven't watched enough. My dad was always watching those things, and then I just left it. Yeah, how dads get. Love those
Understandable.
World War II documentaries.
yeah, dads really do love World War II.
I haven't seen this part about Nauru though. I haven't seen that.
Hey, you didn't hear about the big fight that went on there?
No.
The last thing the last thing going into the history. So their first president, it was who was the guy that you said?
The financial advisor,
Matt, the boy band guy.
Oh my God,
I forgot what his name was
Foxy
already,
Minx.
Duke Minx.
but Duke Minx.
Duke Minx.
Dude,
So I don't know if
Sir Duke.
I don't know when this guy was around. I think it was maybe after World War II when it became an official country. But their first president, who I think is kind of a big deal there, is Hammer de Robert.
Hammer.
Hammer.
Robert.
His name's Hammer.
What kind of name is that?
they don't mess around with names there, man.
Nauru? Yeah. I wonder if he's friends with Duke Minx or if they were.
I
They
mean,
probably weren't around at the same time. I think Duke Minx might be a little later. From the two Nauruans that we know, they got some crazy names there. Let's talk about the food and drink. We've kind of touched on this a bit. Most obese country, 71%. Some big boys over there.
you don't know if you're gonna eat for another 6 months. So you gotta stuff yourself.
Yeah, for every 6 weeks, and then
6 weeks.
and that must be crazy too when the grocery stores or the grocery store there runs out. It's got to be like chopped, or you're like, oh, I got this, I got Spam, I got some old phosphate. Like, let's see what I could cook up.
7,000 different ways to cook Spam, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean it's probably ramen, Spam ramen.
Hot dogs.
Yeah, so they do have restaurants. Surprisingly, this place isn't super bare bones, but they do have the most Chinese restaurants per capita at a whopping 128. So everybody's got their own Chinese food place. So Chinese food's big there. When you think about how small this place is, when there's that many Chinese food restaurants, they really do love their Chinese food there.
Is this like American Chinese food?
Yeah,
Or
do
is
they
this
have
like
General
Chinese
Tso's, or is this
Chinese?
more
That's what I
like
was
kind of like
wondering.
official,
I think so. I don't think it's
traditional?
I think it's
Because like American Chinese food, yeah, if you're eating that all the time, yes, you would be obese.
yeah.
If you're going to Panda Express like 7 days a week or something,
2 times a day.
for breakfast, lunch, and that's 3 times.
I'd imagine it's a Panda Express level of Chinese food that we're talking here, and so yeah, so that's what they eat. That's a big thing. A lot of like hot dogs, hamburgers, that kind of stuff. So not really, and then of course there's fish. They can still
That's true too.
they can still fish and eat that. So that's kind of the main thing that they're eating. Just a lot of junk food and fish. And I'm sure the more obese people aren't eating the fish, if I had to guess. And then if you're on there, let's just say we were going there, they do have a casino that it looked like it was like a guy's basement kind of thing, like, or maybe the size of this, just a couple slot machines. And they do have 5 bars there, so you could go bar hopping probably around the whole island.
Each and every night.
Do a
Pick
crawl.
Your favorite one. Do a bar crawl.
Yeah.
I also read something too that said there was no bars, so maybe that was an old article. I don't know. Let us know if you've been
To Nauru.
to the bars.
Planning our bar crawl. It's really important that we know if there's bars or not.
Yeah, we're trying to bring tourism back to this place to get them out of the rut they're in. But so I think Foster's is what I read. It's Australian.
Australian for
Oh,
beer.
for beer.
Yeah.
Australian for
Yeah, you
beer.
better get that right.
They're highly influenced by the Australians who are so kind to give them all the refugees. So
Does
that
Foster's always come in those big cans? Like, aren't Foster's like always like 16 ounces?
Mhm.
Like, I don't know. If
I
I've
think
ever
they
seen
have
a
regular
12 ounce.
Fosters.
Do they? I've never seen that.
Kitty cans, they call them.
Kitty cans.
just regular can or the big ones.
I'm making that up. But I
Oh.
assume, they're like, that's Foster's Jr.
Yeah, okay. I thought you were saying the big cans are called kitty cans. I was a little confused with.
I think kitty cans are the little Mickeys.
Yeah. They don't really have their own food, so I don't think they'd really have their own kind of drink there. It's, I don't know, Foster's
rum and Coke.
I could see a rum and
if they're
Coke.
down by the island. I mean, they're near the equator. It's got to be something like the Caribbean stuff. Maybe.
Long way from the Caribbean.
It's near the equator.
It's true.
It's hot in an island, okay?
They drink sugar.
Do they have palm trees? Is there a coconut?
They do have palm trees.
See?
Okay, all right. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's over by the coast. It looked like a lot of palm trees, like on the beach.
Like okay.
And then the center of the island, where all the phosphate is kind of more like a plain or kind of just like a flat.
Okay.
Surface. And and there's no ATMs on the island, so you got to bring cash.
So how does that work?
Well,
where's the cash?
when you have 5 bars and 128 Chinese restaurants, and that's
what's their currency? Do they have their own?
I think it's the Australian dollar.
Did they get rid of their ATMs? Because at some point we didn't have
not allowed.
We didn't have cards all the time.
I think they just never had ATMs.
How'd you find this out? There's
I don't know.
ATMs.
This is just what I saw, but
again, if you're
like if you go to a strip club and you have no cash,
there's no strip clubs in this place.
You're SOL. You can't. There's no ATM sitting in the corner that's going to charge you $20 to pull money out.
I like how this is the thing blowing your mind. I don't like everything else is just it's what no ATMs. What?
How many strip clubs have?
How are you going to go to a strip club there?
There's
just no strip clubs.
It has nothing to do with. Has to be some way.
Maybe there is a strip club. Maybe one of those 5 bars.
Go into a gas station. There's no ATM.
There's just a bank in the strip club.
There's a bank in the strip club.
Or maybe they just
like
they have like a
sitting in the
corner.
In the corner.
Some bars.
They could have some sort of barter system with cans. Maybe you could pay the strippers with that. I don't know. But yeah. Apparently, there's no ATMs. Probably no banks, I'd imagine, or maybe a couple. I guess they did have some banks.
Something.
Yeah, I don't know.
They don't have any money, so there's no ATMs, no banks. It's just a barter system now.
I did see, actually, speaking of that, it does have a crazy unemployment rate, like 90%.
Well, what's everybody on this island doing?
Getting fat.
90%.
I could just be pulling this out of my ass, but I'm pretty sure I saw the stat, a 90% unemployment rate. So. Yeah, if that's not true, let us know.
So it's really hot.
It's really hot.
They don't have any money.
They have money, okay? They're just poor.
It's
just because there's no
ATM. Not a lot of money.
Just because there's no ATM.
I didn't say no. I didn't
do you think that ATMs just print the money? That's where it comes from?
Yes.
They change. It's like modern wampum.
What's wampum?
It was like the first North America, or like what the Indian used. Native Americans and
right.
It was their form of currency.
Right.
Oh,
I do.
Okay.
Man, that's an old pull.
Yeah.
When you said that, I was like, that does ring a bell, but I haven't heard that since probably 4th grade. That's the biggest activity is powerlifting. I think that's their national sport. So they're big,
fat and they're powerlifting.
And they're strong, so they can mess you up.
This is an oxymoron of a country, dude. I don't know what's going on here.
That's the place. So what do you guys think? What's your conclusion on this place? Would you go there?
So you said planes flying what, twice a week?
Yeah.
I think on an unlimited time budget, I would like to check it out just to say, but
I think at this point I want to look.
There's
I want to
probably-
find out.
I think out of curiosity.
196 other countries I'd like to go to first.
Well, we'll find out when we get to 197.
That's true.
It seemed like a lot of people who were going there, I saw some YouTube videos and stuff, but it seemed like everybody who was visiting was like, I'm going to every country in the world. So it was just kind of like
off their bucket list.
as a checklist.
Have to do it. Yeah.
Well, you're clearly stuck there for a little bit of time. Like if you fly in, if you miss that next flight out, well then you got to wait a couple more days. So like stick around for a little while.
Yeah.
Do some powerlifting and
go to the 5 bars.
Play some rugby.
Maybe look at the old snorkeling
Go to 5 bars.
spots.
But how do you do that? There's no cash.
It's just a crazy contrast of a place that's. I don't think I would go there. I don't think I would pay to go there, but
not for leisure.
Yeah, not for leisure.
I mean, how long of a flight are we talking about? Does anybody know? Anybody look that up? what's the flight from?
Probably a couple hours from Fiji, maybe.
Know what the flights to Fiji are running in distance from U.S., but it's far.
Yeah, it's pretty far.
I think I want to check this place out.
But it seems like you'd be like, it's like you're in a Wild West town. It just seems like a place you'd get stuck in and be like, where am I? Like
the refugees.
Yeah, but if you were there, I don't know.
Like everybody else who got there.
Yeah, so what's the conclusion? We'll say
I'm going.
I would say no.
I'm going for sure.
I'm saying probably not, but
You never make it out.
Yeah.
I could see you going there and traveling around,
I'm
but
checking it out.
okay, so Matt's
I
going.
could
Hit me
see
up.
you flourishing there, actually.
Yeah. Maybe that's my stripes line.
He's gonna be
up
the
there.
president in like a year.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
you're gonna be the next Hammer to Robert.
I'll take his name.
We're gonna start the next Duke Minx boy band, and then we're gonna write our own musical
Yeah.
And make them pay.
West End
I
story
feel like,
on Leonardo DiCaprio, not Leonardo da Vinci,
yeah.
and then we'll convince the country to pay for it. I want to know.
I think they need a tourist program to like.
Hit me up.
They need to
Nauru.
bring people there and like.
Yeah,
Bring some Instagram influencers or
Yeah.
something.
I will start my Instagram influencer account tomorrow at Nauru.
I just
think it takes
yeah.
longer to get there than that.
I just
So a
don't
couple
think
days.
they really have any. I mean, there's no tourism because it's so tiny, it's so remote. There's just not. It's not. If you're going to like a Pacific island, I think there's just a lot of other places as far as tourism goes. But
We haven't
You
talked
get
about
an
those places
angry
yet.
email
So
from
right
their
now,
board of
Nauru's number
tourism.
one
Yeah.
on my list. Like Nauru's top destination against Nauru.
so that's where the bar is set, is Nauru.
Okay.
Nauru up here. I don't know how high the bar goes, but
Yeah, and I don't know if we're saying it right. Nauru.
Again, email us.
Yeah, let us know.
Email us.
Just tell us. Tell us how
Are we full of
stupid
it?
we are.
Are we liars? You know, are we?
So that wraps it up. Jason, do you want to plug anything?
A motorcycle maintenance channel you can check out on YouTube, and how-tos and riding videos and things like that. But
Yeah, and Justin,
Nothing to plug right now.
Matt, how about you? Your
I'm
new
starting my
influencer.
Instagram influencer account in Nauru. When that gets going, I'll let you know how to find it.
All right, we'll
So, like,
we'll be waiting for
episode, like,
that.
6 or something.
Yeah, you can find this, everything else. We have shorts and sketches at Backyard Boys TV, all YouTube, Instagram, all everything at Backyard Boys TV. And then, so our next episode, we're gonna talk about the little country of Liechtenstein.
ooh,
Liechtenstein.
So be on the lookout for that, and we'll see you then.